Hello, Valdis here. Now, let me just start this account review video by apologizing to all those who are waiting for a review. But I have had some technical issues with my PC, which I had to reformat. So everyone that requested a review and has not gotten it yet, could you please reply to this video in the comment section that you want a review again and what you want reviewed, because the document I made with all the names and what you wanted are gone. So I really apologize for the inconvenience about that, but it couldn't really be helped since my hard disk decided to kill itself. But I could remember one from the list, and that was this account, Flamekillerz. And if I recall correctly, he wanted to know which monsters to keep and which he could use as food, and also some of the rune builds for them. Now, to keep this video in a decent length, I will not go through every monster, but I'll go through the most important ones. So without any further ado, let's dive into the monster list. Now, this first page actually shows you're heavy into fire, but that's not a choice we can actively make with the RNGs in here. So the first unit, Sath, can be utilized for secret dungeons, but also in the Tower of Ascension with a despair build, simply because of his second and third skills being continuous damage effects on them and AoEs. So they will stun a lot and they will do continuous damage. Well, this won't, but it's an AoE still. So if you want to utilize him for anything, you should rune him with despair and use him in Tower of Ascension or in secret dungeons, of course. AoE is always good in there. So you probably want to rune him the despair focus, so you would get the damage, the continuous damage effects to stick. Now, what you are looking for in the stat-wise, you probably want speed in 2, then attack percent in the other, the 4 and 6. If you find that he is too squishy, he doesn't have too many hit points, you can rune him with energy instead of focus, and see if you can't find some substats. But enough about Sath. Now you have a Chloe as well, which is a really good unit. But I think just from the stats I can see here, you have runed her with energy runes. Now a tank Chloe is not as useful as a speed Chloe, if you ask me. So what I would do with your Chloe to rune her Swift Energy and get a speed rune in 2 and HP percent in 4 and 6. Then you can utilize her not only in TOA and dungeons, but also in the arena, and in the arena defense, and in guild battles as well. So get some speed on her. And you have an Archangel as well. Congrats on that. Now, all Archangels are awesome creatures, so there's no question that you want to keep him around. It does say support here, but he's more of a defensive nature, so you want really you want all guard runes on him, since if I recall correctly, his first and second skill are dependent on your defense. But he also has this really nice Sanctuary skill, which enables him to remove all harmful effects and grant the nice immunity buff, and also increase the attack bar. With that, you really want to make him fast as well, so my recommendation actually will be that you get all guard runes still, but you get speed on 2, defense percent on 4, and depending on what you want to use him for, you could go for HP percent in 6, or just add another defense percent rune there. You can mix it up, but yeah, extra hit points will utilize him quite well. And then of course he has this buff, but that's really only for fire monsters, so not too useful in the overall picture. Now, Rogue is always a nice monster, but if you want to really utilize him, you probably want to do a violent revenge build, or violent anything really. He's a really good monster in secret dungeons, as he can clear a floor solo, many of the first ones actually. So if you want him to use him for these secret dungeons, you should go for a violent build with, well, actually I can't even remember how I built my own, but you probably want to go for speed, attack percent. Yeah, that's about it for him. Now, Copper, all guard runes, I see. That's all well and good, that's fine. What you really want to aim for with Copper, if you're going to use him, and this is really hard to do if he's not 6-star, you want to aim for about 2000 defense. When you hit that mark, you can almost be guaranteed that the third skill will trigger, and by that I mean you can see here that you ignore defense if it is lower than 50% of your defense. In essence, you have to have twice the defense of the one you are attacking, and with 2000 you'll have that most of the time anyway, so you will hit really hard with Thunderstrike. It can be done, you can get near 2000 with a 5-star, but that requires, as you can imagine, 6-star defense percent runes in 2, 4, and 6. Yeah, that's about it. And of course, if you can get some resistance or hit point substats, that's really good for Copper as well. Now the so I let's just return Copper. I don't know if it will not be a unit that I would be focusing too much on for now on this account. Rogue either. For now, I think you should. Well, from this picture, you should of course focus on awakening that Archangel. That is a priority. But I do know that the fire instance can be fairly hard to farm at the high levels because of the bombs. But we'll see if we can't find a monster down your list that can actually help you do something about that. Or else I can come with some suggestions, but we'll see. To return to the Phantom Thief, that's also definitely a keeper. You don't want to throw him away. You can go. I'll just hit the right monster this time. You can go Rage Blade. Okay. Well, generally with the Rage Blade setup, you want more crit rate. You have to hit around 60%, before the rage overweigh a fatal set actually. But for this Phantom Thief, Fatal Blade or actually Swift Blade can also be used, and you'll go for attack percent, crit rate percent, attack percent on him. And again, this is a given. You of course want to work on awakening him, but that goes for all keeper monsters. Now, Ramagos, I will keep him around. He can be utilized in defense, but most of the times you can get around him by just stunning him in the arena. But he's a great monster, and you should definitely keep him around. And he's of course very dependent on HP percent in 2, 4, and 6. You can go all energy as you have, but there are various builds as well, which put in some endure runes, or you can go the vampire rune way. That's also a way to do a good setup on him. But hit points. You really need to think hit points on this guy, as you have. Also he can be used in many stages of the game. Also in guild battles, he can be a formidable enemy if you face him in the defense setting. Now, Aman, I have talked about him several times. He is an awesome monster in the mid to first high, and also actually in the end game if you don't get any other awesome healers. But he will only reach that state when he has 100% crit rate, or at least very, very close to it. Right now he's just an unstable potential healer, and you don't want potential when you play with him. So until he reaches 100% crit rate, most of the time I think of him as too unstable actually. You can of course use him in the dark dungeon, where he does get 15% added crit rate because of the element advantage. But other than that, I would wait a bit. Now you ruined him in the energy blade. You do have the right rune setup. No problems there. If you can, and I know that this is a hard setup again, violent runes, violent blade is actually the build I would recommend for this guy, but violent runes are very, very hard to come by, so that's probably not the right way for you for now. But you could swap out one energy set for a blade set more, and you'll get quite close to the 100% mark. But definitely keep him around as well. Now, Tagoros Irune, yeah, I can see he does have 2 AoEs, but he's very, very, very squishy. So you can use him in some secret dungeons. I wouldn't actually focus too much of your energy into this guy. Not sure where you're using him now. But I wouldn't recommend building him any further than that, really. He's not on my favorite list at least, but his AoEs are good. And you have built him all the way almost to max level. So it will be a shame to food him away. Don't actually. You don't have any skill ups on him though, so that would not go to waste if you want to use him as food. But yeah. Well, enough about him. I don't have any other recommendations there. Now the Fire High Elemental. Well, she does pack quite a punch, and she's a good monster in the mid to late start end game, I would say. And you'll probably just ruin her with a standard fatal blade set with all attack percent. Simple, get that attack up. And you have a rage set again, only with, well, the crit damage is quite good, but the crit rate is simply too low, if you ask me, for rage set. So I would swap these out for all attack percent, and I do see that 2 of your runes are here for the attack percent, but a standard fatal blade set would probably be better for this unit as it's built. If you want to keep the raids part of it, you need to find better crit rate substats. He's not really a keeper, if you ask me. He could be used as food. The light self you of course want to keep. He can be used in many situations, especially with the despair builders you also have here. So that's all good. Megan, awesome utility. Definitely a keeper, and you should 5-star her and stick with that for now. 6-starring her will benefit her, but you have many others to 6-star first ahead of her. Now you want to make her as fast as possible, and you have the build is fine. You can argue that sometimes you want an accuracy percent rune here instead, but HP is also one of my recommendations, so she's not so squishy. So definitely see if you can't 5-star her. The water brownie edition. I love these small ball riding imps, or what they are, brownies. They're good for many things, and this brownie in particular, I can't remember what this does. Select a random enemy to remove benefits, make harmful effects, recover your attack. Yeah, okay, can be really good, but the randomness I don't like. Yeah, I always like to target, but removing the beneficial effects and inflict harmful effects. It's probably more fun to use than it is effective, as it's random. But this is an okay AoE, and it also ignores the enemy's element. So that's good. I would keep him around, but might not focus too much on him. The water golem is fusion, so if you want to use him as fusion, you should. If you don't want to go that way, I'll just 5-star him and use him for a 6-star food monster. The water Ramagos, Akshasha is an okay. I would say that she's probably the weaker one. Actually, Defiant Wind has more potential, but still I wouldn't food her away. I would keep her. Now that we are closing in on the 20-minute mark, I'll probably just see if there's any monsters other than her I would keep around if I were you. And yeah, I'll just do that. But to finish this one off, you want to build her with speed, as many of the others Rakshasas, so Swift Blade with speed, crit rate, and attack percent. Would be more recommendations for her. Now here are 2 monsters that you really want to focus on. The Light Inugami and the Light Vagabond. Bella Dion and Darien. Get them awakened and 5-starred as fast as you can. And also the water Economia di Garuda. But that's all the advice I can give you for now. I hope that you can use this for something, and I'll get to the other reviews if you get back to me on this video. And again, I apologize for losing your requests. This will be Valdis signing out. Bye bye.